Welcome to the after show. Why are you laughing, Melissa?
I'm looking at Leroy's Facebook post about the weather.
What's it say?
Said no caption needed. Disgusting, and it's the weather for the next 10 days, and then Tupac from Juice in the elevator.
I've seen.
I love when he posts that because when you post that, you never need to write a caption. You just put the picture of Tupac in the elevator.
Where he looks annoyed.
Yes.
Yeah. I know the picture.
So bad.
That's funny.
Oh God.
So, Leroy, you actually you wanted to talk about this. It was something you brought up last week.
Oh yeah.
When you went to your kid's school. Is that what it was?
Yeah, my youngest son Jordan, who's still in high school, he had an award ceremony. So first, I just want to say congratulations to him and his classmates who received awards for their hard work and what they've been doing.
Very nice.
So I picked him up and we drove back to his school. And when we're walking into the school, I see a older lady, a little bit of gray in the hair. And I said, "Oh, who's that over there?" And I can't remember the name he said, but he said, "Oh, that's let's just say that's Joanne." I said, "No, I'm talking about the teacher." He's like, "Oh no, that's Joanne." I said, "Wait a minute. You don't say Mr. or Mrs.
Miss Joanne?
or Miss Joanna." He's like, "Oh no, it's not required for us to address teachers as Mr., Mrs., or Miss." And I like, you're kidding me? No, he said they actually let us call them by their first names. And I couldn't believe it. Like, is this real? I thought it was disrespectful. I would never, ever call my teachers by their first name. We didn't even know their first names.
Right.
It was like Mr. or Mrs. whoever. And that's just what it was. And then I thought about it a little bit more. I said, wow, if they're letting kids do this at school, then there's a good chance that a majority or at least half the kids call their parents by their first name, which is that's. And I heard it happening at the school. I heard kids calling teachers by their first name. And I can't believe it.
What grade is your son in?
He's a junior in high school.
Because my little ones definitely don't. I don't even know their teachers' first names. Mr., Mrs., Miss, whatever. And no, because maybe my daughter, maybe it's just at that school or something like that. Well, my daughter was a senior. I don't think she was calling her teachers.
I put up a post about it, and a majority of the people were like, "That's crazy, that's disrespectful." But there were a few who said, "Yeah, it's happening at this school, it's happening at my child's school." And it's just like, your kids don't call you or your wife by your first name.
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
All right. But
I was that rebel with I didn't do it with my mom and dad, but I did it with my aunts and uncles and stuff because like you're supposed to address them as like Tio blank or Titi, like for aunt. And I don't know, from when I was little, I was like, whatever, and I would just call them by their first name. I would just be like,
Really?
Go keep it. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm realizing this now as an adult after doing therapy and all that stuff, that I always, since I was little, always had like I wouldn't even say a rebellious thing. If you look at it real quick, you'd be like, oh, you just like not following the rules. That's not what it is. I figured it out. I question so much. So like there's, like, here's an obvious one that I always say. Why can't you have pancakes outside of breakfast? Explain to me. Because it's like kind of like this like social moray of just like, no, breakfast foods are for breakfast. But why? Will you die if you have them at 3:00 in the afternoon? Things like that.
I'll eat lasagna for breakfast.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Too. It's like, why can't you have like and name the dinner food for breakfast? And people are like, well, you just can't do that. But why? Because somebody made up a rule a long time ago. But why can't you do? So I've always, as a little kid, been like that. So I would hear my cousins and stuff call, Tio, and I would just be like, let's see what happens if I don't call them that. And I didn't, and guess what? They still. I mean, they tried to get me, but they still answered when I said their name. Nothing happened.
I don't know.
Nobody beat me.
It just, not that you should be beaten. I don't know. It just seems like a form of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, it might come off as disrespectful, but that's not the reason. It wasn't like I don't respect. It was more just just like throughout my life, I've always been like, why? What? Like, who created that rule for a bunch of things like that?
I got hit up yesterday. I might have an opportunity to coach a junior high basketball team.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't imagine going there and they be like, "Hey, Leroy," but like, "Excuse me,
Right.
Mr. Irvin?" Like, and it sounds old and whatever, but it's like, no, that's respect. I expect them to call me Mr. Irvin. Melissa, when you did cheerleading,
I was just thinking about that.
What did
I
they
think
call
they
you?
called me Melissa.
Oh, and you allowed it?
I did,
Did they call
yeah.
you Coach Melissa?
Right.
I don't even think Coach Melissa. I don't think they ever even called me Coach. It was just Melissa.
Oh my goodness.
But these were teenagers too. So I don't know if the age. It depends on the age. I don't know.
No, I think when I was a teenager, I was still expected, and if it felt right, I didn't have a problem. Shoot, I'm a grown man. If I see an elder of mine, I'm gonna be like Mr.
Right,
or
right,
Mrs.
right.
I'm never letting that go.
Yeah, I don't
Heck no.
even think my kids, when I coached them, knew my last name to even call me that. Yeah, it was always Melissa.
But even just to say like Miss Melissa or
nope, never a
like,
miss,
wow.
never.
Coach Melissa.
Never. No.
In this moment, do you regret it? Like right
No,
now?
I never thought anything of it until now that we're having this conversation.
Look at
Because I don't know
Look at
why I know.
Belichick.
Was it with just you or like all
No,
the
it was with all of us. So I think it was just kind of like, I don't know, we had that kind of relationship. I don't know.
But you also taught little kids too.
The youngest I taught was probably 11.
That's still
But
young.
still, that's
Yeah.
wow.
I don't know. I never thought that was weird ever. That's
Really?
Yeah. But now that I think about it, I guess it probably was.
Yeah.
I have my kids call their coaches and stuff like that, Coach, or my daughter's ballet teachers, Miss Joanna. As much as I'm a hypocrite, as much as like when I was a little kid, I didn't do it. I'm like, yo, you guys better do it. Have them call their friends' parents Miss whatever, Mrs. this, Mrs.
So
that.
what happens if you were to catch your kid? I could see Jax going against
He's
the grain.
100% like
I could
me.
see him
Yeah.
doing that. So if you catch him doing that, what happens?
I'll be like, no, you need to call her blah, 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 because of respect, even though I didn't do it. I'm a hypocrite. I don't care. I'll admit it.
Well, would you now call like, older people by their first name, or you would like
Heck no,
Like my aunts and stuff like
yeah.
that? No, I still call them by their
let's say not family, like you're introduced to someone, like are you
If they introduce them to me as Mr. whatever, that's what I'll address them as.
wow.
But
I can't imagine.
other than that, I'm calling you your damn name. My aunt was here from Florida the other day, and I was calling her name, and then I was telling you this, Pebbles. Remember my cousin who went to the Philippines?
Yeah.
I saw him over the weekend.
Yeah.
And
He's
again,
still, he got all his pieces. Everything's he's still together.
this is why
All of his organs.
This is why I am the way I am with I have a little bit of a thicker skin and stuff. I already told the story to Pebbles. He came over. I said, yo, come over my parents' house because I had my aunt and my cousins came from Florida and we were going to see them. And I said, come through. I want to hear your story from the Philippines. So he comes through and immediately my family starts, like my aunt who's she's older. She's starting to get a little dementia, all that stuff. She started roasting him.
Oh.
He starts talking about the girl where everyone literally all they were saying was like, yeah, but how much did she charge you? How much did she charge you?
Oh, that's
yeah.
mean.
Yeah, whatever. He dealt with it. And then here's the funniest part, though. I'm like, what's her name? And he goes, oh, I call her Lynn. I said, but I don't care what you call her.
I call her Lynn?
Yeah, I go, but what's her name? And he was like, it's like Joyce. Yeah. To the point where,
He
yes.
doesn't know her real name.
So here's the funny thing. So he sends me a text yesterday out of the blue with her name.
Oh, my God.
He said, this is her name.
Glad you know it.
Look at the bottom one.
Wow.
And from that, he got Lynn.
Man, I need to make a suggestion. We need to get him in here and do one of the shows.
Can we please?
Yeah, we need him in here.
I can't.
Why?
YouTube would kick us off of YouTube. I'm trying to tell you, he's not. Listen,
Because of what? Because swearing or?
I just can't. Just trust me. I can't. I will relay.
Inappropriateness.
I will relay everything in good detail. Trust me. But
Okay,
he showed me pictures.
Not a call-in. We can't Zoom.
No,
nothing?
he can't. He can't speak. He doesn't know. Okay,
You
know
mean
how?
just in the way that he expresses himself?
No, I mean in the way that people understand other humans when they talk. Like he can't speak. So you know how like, okay, so I grew up around a lot of people who have really, really thick accents. So like somebody else might hear somebody in my family speaking and not get it because they have an accent. They'll be like, "What are you saying?" I hear it like I understand it. Mm-hmm. I have a cousin who stutters hard. When I say hard, I don't like it's hard, but I grew up with them like that. So I don't even know. I don't even hear a stutter. I only hear it when I'm with somebody who's not used to him talking. Mm-hmm. I understand him. I'll finish his sentences. And my cousin Fatty, he's like, okay, so it's like, you know when somebody's drunk talking and you're like, what are you saying? Mm-hmm. It's almost like that, but I understand him.
And he's sober.
And he's sober. Yeah.
We've had conversations with him, and, I can understand him.
Either you or him were drunk. He speaks better when he's drunk, or maybe you understand him better when you're drunk. I'm trying to tell you. Anyway, but I'll relay. Like, he was showing me pictures.
Yes.
He was making out with her in one picture. He said, "I love you." And you know what my aunt said?
What?
How much extra did you have to pay for that kiss?
Oh,
That's terrible.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.